All right. Okay. The recording has started. Okay. So this meeting is being recorded for our public records and will be posted on the Arlington County Commission Meetings YouTube page. Avoid sharing any personal information that you would not like to be made public. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Courtney. So I'd like to call the meeting, the August meeting, to order of the Arlington County Disability Advisory Commission. I want to welcome our guest, Matthew Kahn and Andrew on tonight. Who are potential commissioners, and a special welcome to Mr. Shahriar Amiri. I hope that I pronounced your name correct. He is the Inspection Services Division Chief. So we have a full agenda tonight. I'm going to do my best. I actually asked Courtney to put some time frames on our agenda because I was a little bit concerned that we wouldn't have time to do everything. So I am going to move to and is there anyone here this evening attending for public comment? So I think the answer is no. So I'm going to move to our second agenda item. And so thank you, Mr. Amiri, for joining us this evening. Accessible housing is a key priority for this commission and many Arlington residents. So Commissioner Marilyn McAllis led our work on the letter regarding interior doors and accessibility. And she's going to walk through the background on this issue and our recommendations. And then she's going to lead some questions that we have for you. And we've allocated about 15 minutes to this partisan meeting. So Marilyn, over to you.
Okay, you want to start? Okay. I'm Marilyn McAllis. I live in Arlington, Virginia. I'm a commissioner. And I have a disability, and so does my son, totally unrelated, and he's not here. He lives in a different place, but he's been here. In fact, he was just here for 3 weeks. I'm going to give you a kind of a personal view of the issues that I have experienced when I was on the board in Reston, Virginia. I was there for 6 years, and it took 4 years to make changes to the internal common areas on all 6 buildings, but it did happen. And it helped not only the people that were disabled like myself, but it helped people with carriages that they had to get in, baby carriages. It helped people that were carrying in groceries through the garage. But it took a ton of coordination and a lot of work as far as the stakeholders and trying to make that happen. Now, I since have moved after 19 years there to Arlington, and I'm in the Waycroft Apartments. And in these apartments, it's a 5-year-old building. And what I've discovered along with my son is a lot of inaccessibility or accessibility challenges within the building. So that's not new to me. It's not new to him. And we feel that there's something that we can present to you that as a commission that you may be able to help us with or answer some questions. So what I would like to do is first to, bound the discussion that we're not talking about individual units and the accessibility of individual units. We're talking about common spaces and ability to get to the amenities. And one of the concerns we have, and I had, and he had, is how do we get to amenities if you're paying the rent and you're paying the fees and you're paying for, if you're a condominium, you're paying for the common use for those, any additional cost, and you can't get to them. You can't get to the pool, you can't get to the gym, you can't get to the common areas, you can't get to the workrooms. So this is a beautiful building. And I think the issue is simple. And it was simple in Reston, even though it took a long time because it was after the fact. And what we don't want to do is be solving problems after the fact anymore, which is why we've written this letter to you. We don't know if you're the right person to come to, but we would like your opinion, and we'd like to know who else we should send it to. And we have a lot of questions for you as well. But at any rate, I wanted to give you, from my personal experience, I was born with a disability. I wear a prosthetic. I do very, very well in my life and a career. I had a great career. I think the issue is, it's again, what we're understanding in our research is it's not the architects, it's not just the universities, it's the developers that don't have the money that don't want to spend the money up front. So what happens is then it doesn't happen at all, or then a board or then PF Sol or someone here would then have to go fix the problem. But you're limiting people that are already paying for the facilities and the access and the safety. I will just mention one other building in Arlington that you may, I think we mentioned it in the letter. The Williamsburg, which is much, much older, they recently put in a hand waiver, which I wish I'd known about that when I was on the board down in Reston, which is, it helps a lot of other people with disabilities. You know, you can just wave your hand and it opens the door. So we're not talking about retail here. We're not talking about internal actual places that they live in their units. That for disabilities is we wanted to bound this to just internal spaces that we think could be an easy fix and a long-term fix that would also take care of, we know there are some tax issues involved in this. Developers don't necessarily want to pay for this, but we think the only way to do that is to kind of have a structure that would end up being codes, and we'll go into other things, but I want to get all ready to the benefits. I think there's benefits not only to the disabled, but the other people that I talked about, you know, mothers with kids and people with groceries and everything, access to internal buildings. But I think that Arlington could actually, if Arlington took the first step to do this with the state of Virginia, if possible, if that's what's required, and others, then it could be done across the country. This is a long-term potential solution. And that Arlington could be the first to do codes. Again, enforcing them might be challenging, obviously, like anything else, like the Fair Housing Act is challenging because it's supposed to take care of a lot of this. But we think that if it's required early in the life cycle of a building, there's a lot of payoff downstream. And I think Arlington could be, lead the way. For the country. So we'd like your opinion on this. There's so much more to cover here and so many other questions we have, but we want to know, do you have any questions for us first based on what I just said? And then we can go into other questions.
I absolutely have no question, but I need more than 20 minutes to describe. So,
Okay.
so if
We know
Madam
that.
Chair can
We
afford
figured
me
that, yeah.
extra time because I'm known to talk a lot. So first of all, let me introduce myself to you guys.
Okay.
My working title is Chief Building Official for the county and Property Maintenance Official. So it's a role that the state bestows upon me. So it's a kind of a little bit of separation of church and state. In terms of the laws, we are a Dillon rule state. So therefore, we cannot make any change in local government. But let me tell you a little bit about my background. I've been a building official in Arlington for almost 19 years. Past 3 years, I took the pleasure of being the property maintenance official. The previous person retired, although he was reporting to me. And no, I didn't get extra pay for this. So this year, 2025, is my 40th anniversary being a code official. I started in Fairfax County. I became the chief building inspector in Fairfax County for about 7 years. I moved to Montgomery County as their building official. And then the past 2007, I moved to Arlington. In this career, I was on the very committee that wrote the 2010 ADA standard.
Wow.
I was part of the committee. I was the chair of the plumbing subcommittee, and I was on the overall committee. So if you're going to get an advocate, you got the right person. Okay. And currently for years, I've served on the standards. Maybe you're familiar with A117 standard for accessibility to buildings. I've been a committee member. In fact, the 2009 version of it, you can find my name on it as Montgomery County, but I'm currently on that committee. So I've been very active in terms of the ADA implication. I know very well Title II and Title III, and I'm very knowledgeable about fair housing. So in regards to my role, the state of Virginia has adopted the national codes A117. So as part of the standards, it happens that A117 takes the ADA and fair housing to a next level. Fair housing requires every unit to be accessible. The national codes and the state building code requires a two level. One is what is required by fair housing. The second thing is a higher degree of accessibility. They call it type A dwelling units. Okay. So, but going back to your question, as a property maintenance official, the building owners are responsible to maintain the code in accordance with the building code under which it was built. You know, 40 years is a long time, right? But from the beginning, and I go back to the 1980 standards, you always required a certain amount of force on interior buildings, doors, 5 pounds, okay? 5 pounds. The only exception was exterior doors, which that's something, a fallacy, because if you can't get into the building, what the heck it matters if the interior are accessible. But in general, all the interior doors generally has been, for last 40 years, has been required to maintain a 5 pound force. So this is not something that I say it that we need to ask for their favor from a developer. This is something we can require from a developer. Okay, so this is not a favor. It's your right as an individual with disability, as a wheelchair user. This is your right. So there are other things that are missing from the code, and one of them is exterior doors. Exterior doors are exempt, but there is nothing in the code that says if the force is greater than 5 pounds, you need to put a strike plate. And that's one element that we should codify. And I'm more than happy to take that to the state. We are in the process of changing the code from 21 standard to 24 standard. I'll take it to them. I won't make any promises, but I'll make my effort to make a change to the state building code that requires any door that requires more than 5 pounds that has to have a alternative way to access, whether it's an exit door, whether it's an entrance to the building. Because frankly, if I go to my own building, if there wasn't a strike plate, I couldn't use it. I'm fully able-bodied. It's so hard to get into it. So every time I go to Bosman Government Center, I have to hit the strike plate because, you know, I'm moving to my older age, so I need that facility. In terms of the interior ones, you can always send me a list, and I will investigate. With one caveat, I don't need to ask for forgiveness from the developer. That's their job to make sure they comply with the building code at the time it was built. The only thing I want you to realize is when I took this job in 2007, I had 3 more inspectors than I have today. So what has changed in the meantime? Every year, so code enforcement is about dealing with existing building. As a building official, I issue permit for about 12 million square foot a year. So do the math. 18 years times 12 million square foot a year. My portfolio has increased tremendously. We have added 2 new regulation. One is noise ordinance, one is snow ordinance that didn't exist when I started this job. So take the 12 million square feet, multiply it by 18 years, and add those two, and I have 3 less inspectors than I had back then. Okay, so so bear that in mind. I may need your help to get more resources to do it, but that doesn't mean that it's not my responsibility.
Right.
You know, I want to say personal note. When I took this job, when I got into this job, one of the things I hated the most is I hate bureaucracy as a government worker. And I was crazy enough to think that I could make a difference in that one. I'm still trying. I don't know whether I've made a difference or not, but I am a public servant. I work for you at the end of the day, and I'm here to help you achieve what you can within the parameters of the law. So on that one, that I said, I talked too much. So I have Marilyn and then Brian have a question. So please feel free to shoot me the question you have.
And
Okay.
Marilyn, before you go, who is the commissioner that I think we've had one more person phone in? As I see Brian.
Yeah,
I see Brian. Welcome, Brian. But there's another individual who's phoned in.
Oh, down here, I didn't see.
Yeah. So is that Doris?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
And,
Oh, it's Doris.
Excellent.
Okay,
good.
great.
And
Great,
I have
great, great.
a question.
Yeah.
And I have a question.
Okay. So Doris, we
directly,
have two.
but it's directly related to the comments that the code enforcement official just made regarding.
Okay. And Doris, we have two. Doris, we have two
So-
questions ahead of you. Let's let Marilyn go first, Brian, and then Doris. Okay, Marilyn, over to you.
Okay, relative to the 5-pound weight on the doors, I'm gonna just clarify. And when I called the fire department, they came out and they were able to say this is greater than in the garages, that it was greater than the 5 pounds. That did help to get the solution, but again, it was after the fact. The other thing that I just want to offer before, maybe we can do it at the end, but I did want to make sure that I offered for you to come. I know Karen came through the Waycroft building the other day to see what the issues are, and we would love for you to come over here so we can walk you through the building. But it's beyond the 5-pound issue. It's door access, pulling doors open that are less than the 5 pounds. It's all of that.
Okay.
That we would love to welcome you to come, or your person.
I'm more than happy to do that. This is not a fire marshal issue. Okay, just letting you know. This is a
Okay.
building official, property maintenance official. I would love to pass this on to the fire marshal, but if it comes under my responsibility, and I
Okay,
take my
great.
responsibility very, very, very seriously. Just to let you know that if you invite me, I can go as a code official, as a building official, as long as a mailman can go. If it's beyond that area, I need to ask permission from condominium or management to do that.
Of course.
Now, if it comes to a point that is a life safety hazard, I have the opportunity to go for an inspection warrant. I'm hoping we don't get there, but I just want to make sure you clearly know the limitation of my authority, and I've done inspection warrant all the time.
Yeah.
If there is, and I don't decide that, magistrate gets to decide that. The other thing that you need to know, so you understand, building code violations are criminal class 1 misdemeanor. So the proof of the thing is a legal matter. I don't work with the county attorney, I work with the Commonwealth attorney. So just want to make sure in a way, I tell my county attorneys, I'm the building code attorney. You can stay in your lane. Let me interpret the building code. So I leave it at that.
Okay,
Excellent,
over to
thank you.
Brian.
Yeah, I just had a question. So, like, if someone was able to verify it was a 5 pound door under cells, I'm sure it will say on like the metal tag that they usually have on it. Is there a way that can be submitted to your office to?
No, no,
Okay.
because that's what I said. The reason I said it is a class 1 criminal misdemeanor. I cannot take your picture or your testimony for that. I need to observe the case before I create a case.
So there's no way someone could submit a complaint. Could they submit it
You
to?
can submit the complaint, yes,
Yeah.
that's fair game. But I have to
Mm-hmm.
verify the 5 pound force. I cannot rely on your testimony for the 5 pound
Mm-hmm.
force. You can
Okay.
always, anytime, that's what I said. You
Mm-hmm.
can submit a complaint to me. We will investigate it, whether that's the case or not.
Okay. Could you send Courtney the link and maybe we can get that on our commissions page for citizens who may need
Please
to?
don't do
Yeah.
that. I'm
Why?
understaffed. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean,
Courtney, there is a link to the code
mhm,
enforcement that
Yes,
says there
online.
is a telephone number and there is a
mhm,
link in there. If you have any
mhm,
complaints, you can fill it in there and we'll
mhm.
take care of it.
Yeah, we
Yes,
definitely
on
want to
that.
get you more staff, and I think us, highlighting that link for anyone that comes up to us will definitely help us, help with the county
Let me
manager.
also tell you this in terms of the codes and the standards, and this is my experience, in the 40 years. When people are subject to codes and standards, they think
Mhm,
it's too much. When they want the code and the standard to protect them, they've
mhm,
realized very fast that is not
mhm,
enough. That's
mhm.
just the nature of the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that
Yeah, and I did have a more of a curiosity. I know for you specifically, you enforce code after projects receive, the final occupancy permit. Do you provide support, or do you know if planning staff have, people who are also well versed in code to prevent these type of
No,
violations? I
no.
mean,
Hold on.
mhm,
Forget
mhm,
about planning
mhm,
staff because that's under
mhm,
jurisdiction of the building official.
okay,
Before a building is built, my
mhm,
staff makes sure that
mhm,
the building complies with the standards. It is
okay,
accessible with all the people with disability.
okay,
Besides
thank
everything,
you.
that is so that's my role as a chief building official. The other
Mhm,
role is after it receives its certificate of occupancy, they have to maintain it in accordance with the
mhm.
code under which it was built. So
Okay, so
all
you,
of this,
um,
all of this, I hate to say it, there are not
mm,
two people. That's me.
yeah, no, and thank you for that clarification. It definitely helps us, as we,
Yeah.
I know we're in a tight budget season, but it will definitely help us continue fighting.
Let me tell you a little bit about my operation. I have 4 functional area. One is permit administration that does the paperwork. One is the plan review section that reviews. These are a bunch of architects and engineers that review plans for compliance not only with the building accessibility, for compliance with the fire code, energy code, mechanical, plumbing, electrical. So it goes beyond. And then I have field services that basically inspects those elements after the permit has been issued. Then the last one is code enforcement that deals with everything after the certificate of occupancy has been issued. So that's how we work.
That's
Perfect.
very
Yes.
helpful. Very
Thank you.
helpful. Yeah, thank you. All right, let's go to Doris. Doris, you had a question.
Yes, thank you. And I want to welcome you and thank you for coming because I was on the Disability Advisory Commission when we met with you at first, I think it was right after you came, but it might have been like a year after you came.
I did have hair, right? Back then. Please tell me I did.
I'm not on the screen, so but
Okay.
yeah, I met with you and Rosemary Ciotti was there.
Yeah, I
and
know Rosemary
and
very
on the
well.
committee.
Yes.
Yeah, and then I also am the liaison to the Housing Commission from DAC, and was part of the Affordable Housing Master Plan group. So, I've seen you a number of times, and I know your passion for this. So what I wanted to mention that is very timely that you came is related to exterior door exemption from the not more than 5 pound standard.
Yes.
Is that in the late teens, the DAC and other disability community representatives worked with the Planning Commission to get the Planning Commission to approve a standard convention for new housing that would require owners and developers of both office buildings and commercial buildings and residential properties to reduce the poundage of the main building entrance, depending, the lobby entrance to
Can I
the
cut
building.
you for a
And
second? The
well, I
local
can finish, but
okay, go ahead.
just to say, if I could just finish my sentence thought, and would also apply to the main garage entrance, and we're talking about private multifamily residential and commercial, and it was made a standard convention, and we thought it was being employed. But I went to a training maybe 2 years ago with planning staff, and it was a kind of an orientation for people coming on to the Planning Commission, and they invited other people. So they told us then that convention was there, but that unbeknownst to us, the convention was only used if the owner or landlord
Agreed to it.
approved. Yeah, agreed to it. Yes, and so the problem for us is that we and Rosemary was involved in that too, and she was on the Planning Commission, so she knew a lot about that. And I was in a meeting where the questions from the owners and landlords and the as well as the county attorney and others came to meet with us once that was approved by the Planning Commission, and we were under the understanding that it was going ahead and being enforced, and then when I was in this training about 2 years ago, they said it wasn't being enforced unless the owner agreed to it, owner and developer agreed to it, and we never once heard that. We heard the reservations, okay, in the meeting with the board chair, the county board chair, and the county attorney, but then they came back to us and told us it would be implemented, and lo and behold, now it wasn't being implemented without the agreement of the landlords and owners. So what happened there, and why? You know, because we were told it was going to be happening, and we went to code site plan review and all, and thought it was happening, and it wasn't.
Okay.
So is there something we can do about this and get the original intent
Well,
made mandatory?
yes. Let me explain. The county board is not authorized to impose requirements over and above the state building code. That is why that provision became a voluntary. There is nothing the county attorney, county board can do to impose a requirement that is in conflict with the Virginia building code. So that's why most of these measures, and I've had this discussion with the county many times. I said, you cannot mandate something that is in conflict with the state building code because we are a Dillon rule state. I work in Montgomery County. Everything you talked about it, I could adopt it in a local code and enforce it. That doesn't work in the state of Virginia. So the only way we can do this is to put a proposal to the state building code to require that thing. And at the earliest, I said, I am more than happy to move that along. Because it's time for code changes. One of the other things we have done in inspection services several years ago, we were looking at accessory dwelling unit, or what do we call it when you did the basement, you want to have a extra room. Building code was very stringent, required all kinds of different things, and basically it costs you about $70,000-$80,000 to just be able to afford to be in your place and have some sort of an income from a dwelling unit in your basement. So actually it was our proposal to the state building code, and we were successful to change that with the help of a lot of the housing advocates for elderly. So this
So
is
this
the
is
only way.
another Dillon state issue.
It's a Dillon stage, yeah. But what I
Yeah,
said at the
that
beginning
it
of
has to
this
be in
one,
the state
I
code.
what I said at the beginning is, uh, I don't like to call myself, because in regulatory format you can't call yourself an advocate. You need to be impartial. But that is a flaw in the code, in my humble opinion, that I've dealt with accessibility issues for as long as I've been doing this. So
So
I
one related targeted question is this: um, is that why? Um, is that why we have to have the state building code
Yes, ma'am.
changed to
Yes, ma'am.
change the number of accessible units required? In other words,
No. Okay.
we can't just say we have a program. So how did they do it for
Okay.
the
Let
targeted, the low
let me
income
let me
targeted
let me.
tax credits, which has a higher
Okay.
percentage? Did the state building code have to have a provision that says
No, it
uh,
doesn't,
you
because
will put 10%?
no,
10%? No.
no.
Okay.
So let me tell you what the state building code does. The Final Fair Housing Act requires that every building in an elevator building has to have all the units comply. So in a multifamily dwelling in Arlington County, every unit is accessible. Remember, accessibility of fair housing is totally different than accessibility in ADA. It's a lower standard. But in addition to the fair housing guideline, there is a type A dwelling unit that provides a little bit more degree of accessibility. So the state building code actually has more requirement than the final fair housing accessibility guideline. Now, about the site plan condition. Site plan condition can only be voluntary if they agree to it. Site plan condition cannot mandate something that is in conflict with the state building rule,
But they
building code,
do for
because of the
10%.
Dillon rule.
They do for 10% tax credits. They don't for the 4%, but they do for the 10%.
Well, that's
They
different.
require.
That's a credit. But in terms of the physical nature of the building, I deal with the building. Everything goes vertical. But from the physical nature, how the building is built, the buildings that are built today are probably more accessible than the base Final Fair Housing Act of 1990.
So, Mr. Amiri,
Right. Okay, thanks.
we
That's what I had. That's what I had. I didn't, the fair house, I mean, the tax credit thing didn't come up until he was talking
Yeah,
about the
that's
building
Yeah.
code
not a
requirement.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
that's not a
So-
building code issue.
So, Mr.
Okay.
Amiri, I want to be really respectful of your time. We have kept you longer than we were going to keep you.
No,
And,
I'm more than happy because this is as important to me as it is to you. So know that you have an advocate. I can do whatever I can do within my authority, and I'm not going to do things that I'm not authorized to do at the same time.
So, Mr. Amiri, I just want to recap what I think I heard, and other commissioners can, if I've miscommunicated, please let me know. What I heard was, if we do want to communicate with you, it's really important to include your assistant. The second item is we would like to invite you to visit the Waycroft building. And the third is if we do want to support changes, that we as DAC can draft a proposal that you are able to take forward, because I understand that the state building code is right now being reviewed. So is that a correct understanding?
Yeah, the last piece is a me thing that I need to put a proposal to the state building code. I've already, before I came to this meeting, I talked to some of my staff. I have my alternate on the National A117 committee. I said, hey, this is the missing part. It has been missing for too long. We need to address this. Outside the housing, I have to tell you that if you go to commercial building, brand new building, dimensions are the toilet rooms are much larger than what you're used to seeing. So the standards have really expanded the dimensional requirements. But let me just step at that one. I know Marilyn has a question,
Yeah,
followed by
just-
Elizabeth.
I think Karen said it very well. I don't think I need to add any questions. I don't think I need to add anything. I want to thank you for coming, especially on this particular topic, and we expanded it, which we hadn't expected. We have other questions that we can send to you separately, and what I think I would like to offer, or our commission, if everybody agreed to offer, we'll go to the state of Virginia with you if you need us. You asked if we could help you. We'd be happy to go and be the people on the front end if you need it to make code
I
changes.
appreciate that. Yeah, help me help you. So that's much
Excellent.
appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
But
And-
I will move forward without you showing up, because I think it's
Okay.
near and dear to what I stand for.
Okay, Elizabeth, you have the last word, the
Yep.
last question.
Okay, this will be quick. You had mentioned, a lot of people were mentioning the pound of the door and getting it lowered. And you said, look, I don't want to be overwhelmed with calls if you put it on your website, which I understand. But I have been of the experience that where I work, that if the bathroom door was too heavy, I just went to the building person, told them to, make it lighter, and they did. And I had my mother-in-law do the exact same thing for her gym in her retirement community. So is there, I mean, if we put something out as a committee, which, is it true that sometimes you can just ask that the building people can set
Yeah.
poundage?
But by the way, let me be very clear. It is your right to complain. Doesn't matter if I have the resources, or Shari Amiri is the only person. So I don't want to send the messages. Don't make a call because I may be understaffed. It's my duty to provide the services that you are required to provide. So I can deal with all the interior doors, generally speaking, with minor. I cannot deal with exterior doors. That's because the law exempts the exterior door. And my commitment is to put a code change to deal with exterior doors, or for that matter, any interior doors. My thought was, if the force exceeds 5 pounds, you need to put a strike plate. I don't care whether it's exterior or interior.
Not just about 5 pounds.
Huh?
Yeah, I just wanted to let folks know here that it doesn't necessarily, I mean, we could notify people that
Yes.
it's required, and that sometimes their superintendent of their building can do it themselves. It doesn't have to be, so anyway,
I
it was just about,
I totally get that. At the same time, if everybody did what they're supposed to do, I wouldn't have a job. So I've been willfully employed for 40 years and counting.
yeah, very good, very good.
Wow. Well, on that
Thank you.
note, thank you so much for attending. We have all learned so much, and you will be hearing for us. So you are welcome to stay on the meeting, or you're welcome to leave. So thank you
I
so
think
much.
I started I was at work at 6:30 this morning in my office. I think it's my time over. But please, in addition to Tammy, if I can ask you to also copy Courtney on all the correspondence you have with me. So I have 2 people
Okay.
watching over me.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Excellent.
Thank you for inviting me.
Excellent. So let's move to our next agenda item. It's to review and approve the June 16 meetings. I do have just 2 comments on the meetings minutes. They are on, I believe that they are, I have lost my place, so hold on one second. They are with respect to noting attendance. And I have discussed this with Courtney, and I know we're going to spend a few minutes on the electronic meeting attendance policy. But our policy comes from Virginia Code 2.2-3701. And I am requesting that from this point forward, our meeting minutes, if a commissioner attends virtually, per what is in the code 3701, I am proposing that what appears in these minutes and future minutes just notes that a commissioner participated virtually in home per the VA code 2.2-3701 virtual attendance criteria, and their disability is not referenced in the meeting minutes, which are public record. So I have one change. And the second change is very minor. It actually refers to me that I completed the neurodiversity at work program through Cornell University. So it wasn't a webinar, it was actually a program that I highly recommend. So those are the 2 changes that I noted, and I didn't know if there were any other changes to the meeting minutes. So do we have a motion to approve the minutes with the changes?
I so move.
And
Second.
second?
Second.
Okay, excellent. So our meeting minutes are approved. Okay, excellent. Thanks so much. And I appreciate everybody's patience. I had allocated just 15 minutes for Mr. Amiri, but frankly, it was super enlightening and helpful to hear from him. And sadly, Justin is not able to attend the meeting tonight, and he had 2 agenda items, so we took a little bit of Justin's time. So we'll be sure to put his items on the next meeting. So the next item is I am serving as your interim chair, and Courtney's going to talk in a few minutes a little bit about our roster of commissioners, but we have a situation with an opening for the chair, and I have put my name forward to serve as your chair. And as interim chair, I also want to make sure to open up the opportunity to anybody else who might want to serve as chair. I will serve as chair until you all as commissioners make a recommendation on who the board should appoint as a chair. So I'll serve until that point, but I feel really strongly anybody else that wants to put their name forward, please do so. And I'm requesting if you could do it up to 2 days in advance of our September meeting, and then have Courtney put you on the agenda, and then you'll be able to stand up and make your pitch and talk about what you bring to the table and why you want to serve. And then we'll take a vote as commissioners. So I thought I would just take just not even less than 2 minutes to talk about why I'm interested in serving as your chair. I've spoken individually with some, but not all of the commissioners, to hear your perspective and learn from your many, many, many years of service. I'm looking especially at Bryant, I'm looking at Elizabeth, and also at Doris. And if you did recommend me for a board appointment, I would ask members individually to help identify and prioritize our areas of focus and strategic goals for the remainder of fiscal year 26. And I would also recommend that we convene in the December-January window for an extended planning session, bringing in county staff, such as Mr. Amiri and his staff, to help us really drill down into our goals and priorities. And this is not an original idea. Thank you, Doris. You and I discussed that last night. And I would say, in terms of my vision, if my candidacy moved forward, I had the opportunity about 3 weeks ago to meet with our county board liaison, JD Spain, who is a very enthusiastic liaison to our commission, but I did hear that he's the liaison, I think, to 18 other commissions and committees. So he's pretty busy. But in spite of that, he shared a strong focus on housing, which is clearly a priority for all of us. So if I was appointed, I would definitely prioritize us establishing clear strategic focus goals, and developing and adopting bylaws and rules of engagement so that we could work together more effectively during our meetings and in between our meetings. And I would work to strengthen our membership through targeted recruitment. And hopefully we have 2 potential and very interested commissioners with us tonight. By way of background, I bring about 20 years of federal service and experience in accessibility and reasonable accommodation, as well as 10 years as a K-12 educator, very familiar with individual education programs and special education services, including time in Arlington Public Schools. And I became a commissioner in October of 2023, came to my first meeting and promptly realized how little I knew. Very humbled by Doris and Elizabeth and Bryant and Justin and other longtime members, and made it my business to really do some upskilling and a lot of learning. And so this summer, completed and earned the University of Missouri ADA Coordinator Training Certificate, and then I completed a certificate program in neurodiversity at work with Cornell University. So I look forward to all the great work that we can do together, and I encourage anybody else who is open to serving as a commission, as the chair, to put your name forward. So that's all I'm going to say about it. I don't know if you have any questions for me.
I do.
Go ahead.
Why are you waiting for nominations? Just to give everybody an opportunity.
Yeah, I frankly have met with some, but not all of the commissioners. Brian, I haven't been able to meet with you or Justin, and I do want to do so.
Okay.
And
you answered my question. Yeah.
Okay. And I think it's important because we had a situation as a commission that our hardworking chair needed to step down because of work obligations. And I put my name forward and said, I'm happy to help out if you need to step down for a few months, serve as interim chair. But I think it's important that everybody gets to consider whether they want to put their name forward. So the vote will be next month.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
Hi. I don't know. I think it's Brian who knows the rules. Am I supposed to propose an amendment to your request? I wanted to add something.
Sure.
Sure. Okay. I was thinking, since you've had a chance to just tell us the wonderful things about you, and we hope to take in a vote at the next meeting so that you could have some clarity, or whoever does this. My proposal would be that whomever decides to nominate themselves, if they could, whichever they prefer, videotape a statement similar to what Karen did, or if they prefer, write a statement. And that way we could have some advance notice so people could ponder on, and we could actually take a fair vote at the next session.
Okay. I think that's a great idea. Anybody else's thoughts?
Great idea.
Okay. So you notify Courtney within the 2 days and provide that a short video clip or a short statement. Your interest, some ideas that you have, and what qualifies you to put your name forward as chair. Okay. Excellent. Thanks, Elizabeth. And Elizabeth was the one who helped me kind of think through being very deliberate through this process. So thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate everything. Okay.
Appreciate
So
you.
I want to move to our next item and welcome Andrew. And we're glad to have you here tonight. So you've completed just a short statement of interest and you shared your resume. So if you could just talk a little bit about what is bringing you to your interest in the commission, and some areas of particular interest for you. So over to you.
Yeah, definitely. Just to quickly introduce myself, I'm Andrew. I'm based here in Arlington. I'm a first-generation immigrant. I became a U.S. citizen almost exactly 2 years ago, and I just had a very strong drive to serve my community and to engage in civic duties after naturalizing. And that's a large reason why I'm here before you today. My background is in a mixture in development work, corporate communications, and advocacy. I built partnerships with both community and businesses to advance good causes, and I manage fundraising portfolios that impact rural communities. So just to go over my background quickly, I'm in my day job, I manage a trade association's foundation where I manage numerous giving programs such as community grants and scholarships. And I also lead the organization's development efforts, such as soliciting corporate partnerships. And I also address broadband accessibility issues in rural communities. And we do have several programs dealing in accessibility. However, I also do consulting work at the Hearing Loss Association of America. I'm their technology consultant for ICAT, which stands for Industry Consumer Alliance for Accessible Technology. And just to explain it, it's a platform that connects consumers with hearing loss and industry partners to co-create better assistive listening technology. And through that platform that I manage, I also hear a lot from the hard of hearing community through curating stories and experiences surrounding accessibility issues. And to answer your question, what really excites me about the DAC or DAC, I think that's what you guys call it, it's where advocacy really meets actions, whether it's influencing a site plan, shaping transportation access, or just making sure that accessibility isn't just fine print or an afterthought. I really do want to bring both my technical and advocacy experience to the table to help Arlington lead in accessibility nationally. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share a little bit about myself, and I'm eager to learn from all of you. So if you guys have any questions for me about my background or my interest in the commission, I'll be happy to answer them.
I just want to say, wow.
Wow.
I attended, I feel like maybe it was a U.S. Access Board presentation on hearing aid technology about a year ago, and I was just blown away by the possibilities and a little bit overwhelmed. It was very complicated. So that's all I'm going to say. So let's open it up and see who has kind of questions and comments for Andrew.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
We need you. We need you.
And of course, if you guys want to connect with me even after this call or learn more about me on a one-to-one basis, I'm also happy to do that any time. So just let me know.
And I think, Andrew, I had just, reached out to you and said, if you want to do a one-to-one with me in the interim chair role, I'm happy to do it. So just reach back and let me know. Doris, did you have any comments? Doris, did you have any comments, questions for Andrew?
I think you have, my comment is, I think that you have a very broad and broad background that, is very specific in terms of some knowledges that would be helpful to us on the DAC. And I did want to ask, since you brought up hearing aids, right now I've been trying for months now to buy new hearing aids because mine are about shot, and I learned something from my audiologist that really frightens me for myself and for many, many others, which was that I went and I got fitted and everything, got the testing and all, and then she said, well, we have new technology, she kept saying. And then she said to me, well, here's the thing. You have to use this particular maker and this particular style because the larger hearing aid batteries are not going to be produced anymore, and you have to go to this one where there's a rechargeable box that you plug it into either when you're sleeping or whenever you have other free time that you don't have to wear the hearing aids. And I was like in shock because I am deafblind, and I put the batteries in by feel, and that's why I use the larger batteries rather than the small miniature ones. And so I'm wondering, is that an issue that out there that's arising, and we can keep the different types of hearing aids and battery charging equipment rather than getting rid of them? Most of them also don't want to put on T-coils, even if you. I talked my audiologist into doing that the last time I purchased them. So that, and the fact that the hearing aids used to be good for about 7 to 10 years, and now they're only good for 3 to about 3 years. That's putting a big cost burden on on people with disabilities. Thanks. You should have got me started. I used to work in I used to work in assistive technology and with the Able Data database, so that's why.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Doris, feel free to reach out, to Andrew because he is on the emails. So Andrew, I don't know if you had anything, or if it might be more appropriate, like one-to-one to talk to Doris.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want me to quickly just make some comments based on what she just said?
I'm a little concerned about time because I want to
Okay,
be
no problem.
respectful of our agenda. So I want to encourage the two of you to connect.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so any other questions, comments for Andrew? So does anyone want to put forward the motion to recommend Andrew's appointment by the county board? It would be by our board liaison, JD Spain.
So moved.
Second.
And excellent. So we will recommend that your nomination be put forward because you will be, your nomination will be put forward by JD Spain. So Courtney,
thank
what
you so
else? Courtney, what else do we have to do?
In regards to Andrew?
Yeah.
So I'll let Carol know that the commission has recommended him for appointment. And I think they have a meeting come up in September. So they should be in touch.
Excellent. So whether the appointment is formal or not, Andrew, we'll make sure that you're included on the next meeting invite. So excellent. We look forward to it. And then if you could just reach back to me and let me know, give me some times, and you and I can do a one-to-one. That would be excellent.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Excellent. And then Matthew, I didn't know if you had questions for us because you've just been quietly listening.
Yeah, no, my motive was just to kind of like learn. I've never attended one of these meetings before, and I've already learned so much. And I'd like to attend the next one too. I know it's in person and meet some of you and just continue to learn and see if I want to get more involved.
Okay. And then if you are interested, there is information on the county website. If you just Google the Disability Advisory Commission, there is a link that you can complete a statement of interest. So that's really on you, or you can just continue to attend meetings.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, our next item is the annual electronic meeting policy. And Courtney, I think that was your item. I did have some comments, but I think it was your item.
So commissions are required to adopt the electronic meeting policy annually. So this is a recent update, as well as they did update the policy reflecting the quorum. If it's a caregiver, they updated the definition for caregiver, a medical condition that will count toward physical quorum as long as they're. So that's the update on that. And like I said, this would be an annual event to adopt it annually.
Okay, so I did have a couple comments. I think it's more just clarification, maybe to ask Courtney on that. So the virtual meetings and remote participation policy is posted on our Disability Advisory Commission website. And as I said, it is part of the Virginia Code 2.2/3707. And there was one point that's of interest to me, because given that we usually meet 11 times a year, we do have the possibility to have fully virtual meetings up to 6 times a year, but they cannot be consecutive. And one thought that I had was we still would be able through the end of this calendar year to have a virtual meeting in October and a virtual meeting in December. And so I guess the question for the commissioners would be, is that something the commission is interested in doing? So that's the first point. The second point is on page 3 of the reference from the state code, the draft policy, I sort of referred to it when I requested the change in the minutes. There are 3 so-called reasons to attend virtually, even if the meeting is scheduled in person. You can notify the chair that it is for a personal matter, and you get, in our case, you would be able to attend up to 4 meetings, 25% of our meetings a year, virtually for a personal matter. And then the other 2 conditions would be if you, the commissioner, you're unable to attend due to a temporary or permanent disability or medical condition, or if you have a family member. And so I just want to reiterate that when this is noted in our meeting minutes, if a person is attending for a personal matter virtually, they need to identify why. But if they are attending because of a temporary or permanent disability or other medical condition that is their condition or a family member's commission, that it is only necessary to say that you are attending virtually, just citing Virginia Code 3701. So that was really just the second item. And then just to reiterate, as the policy is written, if the meeting's scheduled in person and you attend virtually, it still counts towards quorum. So Courtney, I don't know if you have any comment on any of that.
No, that's correct. The medical and the caregiver counts toward physical quorum.
Yeah, okay. So I think I wanted to open up the floor if there are any other comments on the policy and thoughts of the pros and cons of having virtual only meetings for October and December.
I think that it would be fabulous to
can
have
I-
virtual
can I-
only meetings in October and December. Sorry, Doris, I had started just as you spoke. Did
I'm
you
sorry.
guys hear
So
me?
are we voting on something?
So I am asking if there is comment before we vote, comment on considering having our October and December meetings as fully virtual, because under this policy, we are able to do so. Otherwise, we would interpret, we would continue to schedule the September, October, November, and December meetings as in person with a virtual option if you cite one of the conditions.
Okay, so okay, you're just clarifying what the rules are for the commission if people are exercising these various.
Yes, but I'm also
options.
gauging
Okay.
in. Yeah.
So one of the things that I wanted to mention to you is that I go to and I actually serve on at least one commission in Fairfax, and so it's the Aging and Disability Advisory. Well, I'm killing the name, but it's a combination of age and disability. So so when it was far more strict, they came out with some of these policies, a couple of years ago, and so I and others are on the set of people who who are permanent, who are on that list of people who can attend virtually, on a permanent basis, what you just read. But there was that doesn't come with an exclusion that you can't come to a meeting and be voting in person. If you, to my understanding, it doesn't, and that's the way they're practicing it out there. So if I am able to come to a meeting, versus like now when I've had some medical issues. So is that the way we're practicing it here in Arlington? You can still come to a meeting and be there in person when you're able to, right? You just have the option of attending as many times as you need to if you're in this permanent disability
Permanent
status.
or temporary or medical condition. Yes. Yes.
Nothing will keep you from coming to a meeting if you want to. That's why I just
No.
wanted to clarify.
No, it actually, I think for us, it used to be we had challenges achieving quorum, but now as long as if you determine the meetings in person, I'm going to attend virtually. And the reason that I cite is all I need to say is it's per, Virginia Code 2.23707, because it should not be in the minutes noting that it's because of a disability. So that information just shouldn't be in the public record. Okay. Yeah, that is clear.
Actually, they have a whole procedure out there in Fairfax, and I don't know whether the Arlington County Board has that in place too. So there are procedures that they have to take roll at the beginning of the meeting.
And that's fine.
Say which
That's
status
fine.
you are in at that night, but it has to be in the minutes and everything.
And it does in ours, and so it will say attendance virtual per Virginia Code 2.23707 instead of saying because of physical disability or medical condition. Okay, so Elizabeth, I think
so that's why you can just, all you have to do in the minutes is say because of a personal reason, or you can say in the minutes that it's because of a disability or being a caretaker or whatever.
So Elizabeth, you had a comment. At least I think you did.
I did. I am very in favor of having it virtual in October and December, and Courtney is smiling. But yes, I just wanted to put, yay, I think that would be fabulous. So there.
I concur. I concur.
Is there a motion to move the October and December meetings to fully virtual?
I so move.
What, you're changing the number of meetings or?
No, this is per the policy that we may have up to 6 in the calendar year, and we are not near that number for the close of the calendar year. So we can have the October and December meetings be fully virtual. Is there a second?
Can I add a thought and see whether you want to put it in there? I personally think that particularly January is one of the hardest times to get. December and I don't know about December. December, to me, in my experience, has not gotten as cold or snowy, but January is a big hit month. January and February are often big hit months, but February is getting too close to the budget discussions, I guess. So that's just a thought.
So
maybe January should be one of those months, but I don't know. Because December, anyway.
Okay, Marilyn, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a comment. I think the issue is it's not just snow or whatever, it's how dark it is. For me, when I go by myself there, it's, when we meet, it's I feel like it's dangerous. And if I have to take an Uber, and I have to, convert over brick or whatever to get in or to get out or wait. It's not, it's hard to get an Uber to come up to that particular area. You don't know where it's going to pick you up. I have often walked over to the hotel to try to go through the hotel after 9 o'clock to get an Uber ride because it's safer for me to get it out there. So for me, I vote for virtual, certainly for October and December, but I think I want to raise the awareness. Going to that building at night is not easy for those of us that have either a prosthetic or a disability of some sort, whether it's a vision or something else. It's not, it's easier in the spring and summer, or fall, early fall, but when it gets darker, it's harder, especially at the end. Getting there by 7, but 9 o'clock, it's getting really dark. That's my opinion.
And Courtney, my interpretation reading that policy is those meetings cannot be concurrent months.
Correct. I also do have a question. In order to implement it, we do have to adopt it, vote it in.
I know.
Okay.
I know. I understand.
We're having a conversation.
Yeah, we're having a conversation. Let's follow Courtney's lead. Is there a motion to adopt the policy that was posted? We need to adopt it. Is there a motion to adopt the policy that was, it's posted on our website, and I think Courtney shared it. Is there a motion to approve that policy for this year?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. So, okay, Courtney, we did it. So I think the question is, we do have an opportunity this calendar year to have 2 more meetings. My assumption is it's a brand new year in January. We also could just decide to have January virtual. I don't know if that's incorrect. Maybe we just get to that point. We did have a motion to have October and December virtual. Is there a second to approve that? Because this is making a determination through the calendar year.
Are you opening it up to having a January meeting that's virtual versus not happening at all?
Oh, we would have a January meeting, and we would have a January meeting in person with the virtual attendance option if you, claimed one of the criteria due to a permanent or temporary disability or medical condition or a personal matter. No, of course we would have a January meeting.
Yeah, because I think, like I said, I think January is January, actually in February, but January is the worst weather usually, and I've lived here all my life. But the other thing is that in mid-January, when our meeting date would be is the week that most disability and other advocacy groups, but most disability groups go to Richmond the 3rd or the 4th week of January. And so in addition to the weather and circumstances of that nature, that's when all eyes attention, at least if you're doing any advocacy at the General Assembly, you'd be down there.
So
that's the thought. I mean, if you're going to have a meeting that we're off, like we used to always take off July.
Right.
And then they brought it back on as a meeting time, and July and August used to be the times when we didn't have meetings since we could have less than 12.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is perhaps we should introduce
So
a
I'm not
motion.
seeing the whether my comments are it appears that we're looking at having less than 10 meetings, right? We're doing
No,
that now?
no. Doris, we will have 11 meetings. Under this policy, up to 6 can be fully virtual. So what I'd like to recommend is asking if we would have a motion introduced to determine if October can be virtual only, and then we will make a determination on the remainder of the year, probably at the October meeting. So is there a motion to move October?
is a business month for the county
So
board and stuff.
Doris, there still will be a meeting, but this is putting the meeting into a
So it would
fully
be virtual in October?
Yes, it would be virtual in October only.
Well, and December. My motion was and December.
So remember that we, of course, will have a meeting those months. It's just that there will not be an in-person option for those meetings. But there will be.
It'll be just like this.
It'll be just like this.
Maybe to help, so we do have virtual and hybrid. I think that's
right.
What Karen's alluding to. Yes, the hybrid option.
Right. The hybrid, you can show up in person, or if you attend virtually, you can say that you're attending due to one of those reasons cited in the code. All right, so we did. Okay, so go ahead.
I make a motion that we have it virtual in October, December, and January.
Wow, let's get it. Let's get a second.
I'll second, even though those are contiguous. Could talk about it again.
They're different years. They're not the same year.
There you go.
I think it says the calendar year. Okay, Courtney, we solved it. So our meetings are going to be virtual only, October, December, and January. This is very exciting. And of course, Doris, we will continue to meet. Excellent. I have talked enough. I'm really excited to have Courtney talk.
And I think it is the calendar. I don't think they're going to consider December, January, but let me just check on the safe side and I'll get back to you guys. I'm going to make a note to myself, but I got it here in the notes.
I love it.
Okay.
Actually, I think we should be thinking. I think we should be thinking about the public, and when we do virtual versus an in-person meeting versus or hybrid, or versus not having a meeting at all, and that's why I don't understand why we would only want to be virtual in October. Exactly.
I think the discussion, Doris, was.
Is there some reason why October would be?
For ease of attendance. So, okay, so we have voted on. So that motion has passed for October, December, and January. So Courtney, it's over to you. You have a couple of items for us.
Yes, I was asked to provide an update on the commission's roster. So currently the commission has 13 seats. Of the 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are filled. So in this instance, usually the county board will go out and and I checked, they do have a posting of announcing vacancies for this commission. Since then, we have received 3 applications. One of the individual is not going to be able to apply at this time. Another one we have been reaching out to, and then you have Andrew, who's joined us today. Let's see. And once again, with the commission, this is a 2-year term. But that's what I have. So Suzie did resign. She did provide her resignation. Her name is still on the roster at this time because I think it was last week. However, it will be removed. And then also Doris's status, we're still checking to get an update on the status on her appointment. So once I have an update, I will provide that.
And
Any
Courtney,
questions?
well, Courtney, to add, our previous commissioner, Alexa Mavroidis, did formally step down as chair, and I did speak to her. She indicated that she formally also stepped down as a commissioner.
Thank
So,
you. Yes.
yeah, so thank you. Okay, so Courtney, anything else for us?
I will
question for
add,
Courtney.
oh, I'm sorry.
So I have been on, I think, like 12 years. So does that mean I should get off?
Oh, no,
I mean,
I'm just, it's 2 years and then reappointment. That's what I meant. Apologies. So it's usually reappointment's going to be about every 2 years.
Oh, okay, got that. Thanks.
Yeah, sorry about that. I will also add, and I'll send information. Some of you may be aware of the regional grant application process. It's open. So as I collect them, the closing date is in October, and as I collect them, I'll provide those applications for your review and the rating sheet so that you guys can provide your recommendations to JD Spain, who will then present it to the board for funding. So that will be coming down the pipeline.
Courtney, what is the October deadline? Is
The
it the end
date-
of the month? Yeah.
Oh, let me.
My only question is, do we have to like send everything? You know, what is our drop dead date to send everything?
So the board would need to hear from the commission in January, no later than the end of January.
But I
So
thought we had, yeah, but I thought we had to go back to JD earlier than that.
No, the usual, oh, I'm sorry. The deadline has been January to go to the
Okay.
the finance committee and to recommend it to the board liaison.
Because when we did it previously, I know like we had pretty robust, everybody kind of did their ratings, and then in a meeting we had a pretty robust discussion about kind of allocating the funds among the groups and all. So I'm wondering if that would be a December agenda item.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
maybe if you can give us clarity, is it January 31st? Is it January 1st?
It's, yeah, I believe it's the 31st, but I can double.
Okay, if you
that.
can
Let me
just
give you
let
the-
us, yeah, let us know, because we'll have to think about, because it actually takes a fair amount of time to read those applications and do your scoring and then dedicate time at a meeting to it. And
So
some
the
of
grant,
you,
I'm sorry.
go ahead, Elizabeth.
Can I'm not quite sure of the time frame, but I agree. It takes some time, and I'm not, and also we will be given a scoring sheet, correct?
Yes,
Correct,
you'll be
right,
provided
okay.
a scoring sheet. I did see that the grant period closes October 6th, Monday, October 6th. So usually that week, no later by the close of that week, I will provide the applications to you for your
Okay.
review. So maybe
That's good.
a December timeframe, if that gives enough time to discuss it at
Yeah.
that point. It's up to you.
It really did.
I think if we can think about putting it on the agenda for December, yeah, definitely. Okay, excellent. Anything else, Courtney?
That's all on my end. Thank you so much.
Okay, did you all have, anybody have questions for Courtney on any of these items?
I just wanted to ask if you are able to put out the accessible versions at least at the same time as the ones that are in that application that we use for the proposals.
Okay, I will.
I mean,
I will.
it worked out good the last time, but sometimes they have, you know, you had to wait to get the request and all, and then it took a little bit longer. I don't know why, but I think starting early is the best for us to do, because it's always problematic to read all those proposals.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that, Doris, and I'll reach
Because
out just to make sure I have
I'm
the right
reading
phone
in
number.
a speech only, so
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and they're
We know.
huge.
I'm just saying.
Noted, I'll reach
Andrew,
out to you.
And Andrew, hopefully you'll be an official commissioner and we'll value your input with your experience going over these proposals, because they're pretty dense, and but it's really important work. Okay, thanks, Courtney. I think I'm supposed to give an interim chair's report. It's going to be pretty brief.
Karen, sorry, Karen, I had a question.
Please, I'm sorry, I didn't see
Sorry.
it. Go ahead.
Okay. Courtney, I know the the community development citizen advisory committee, we really need to work on our naming conventions of our commissions. But I know they recently are moving into a digital scoring platform. Are we using that as well, or is it the spreadsheets like we did last year?
It's the spreadsheet like we did last year.
Mm.
I do know that in the past, the commission has talked about updating the forms. I'm happy to do so. Maybe once this period closes, I can find a time that works for everybody and a commission meeting and present the forms, and you can provide your feedback and where you would like it updated or how you would like it to look different. So I can work on that. But that's a great idea. And you said what commission was this again? I mean, try to.
Yeah, the community development
Okay,
citizens
I'll also
advisory.
contact them. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
And
put
I
that
Oh,
think,
and then don't bring us one until you've checked whether it's accessible by screen reader. I know you would do that, right?
yeah, well, we haven't got trained on a new system yet, so I can certainly ask that when we get our training for that. But it was just more, I know the county has been through this, through a lengthy process of reforming our, our county grant processes with the new race initiative. And I was just wondering, is the county manager, or is that something we can revamp this just to make sure, we are providing a unified process to, our community organizations, because having them have to learn two processes, it's just, we definitely want to make sure we're reducing the burden on those organizations. So definitely a discussion for next year. And Karen, I think it might be worthy for us to put on our whatever action plan you have. Just see if county staff would be willing to help us. Make sure we're in alignment with those county board priorities.
That'd be great. Thank you. Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah. I will be really quick because I'm noticing what time it is. Really, the only item that I have to report back is I think you all had seen notice in Arlington Now and in the press of the county board's audit of STAR. It was quite scathing. And we did not have a meeting in July, and I did meet with JD in my capacity as the interim chair and indicated that as a commission, we did not have time to put together a statement, but as the interim chair, I wanted to share my statement. And so I did and asked him, what do I need to do? And he said, you give me a statement as interim chair, I will take it to the staff and the board. And so I will share it with Courtney, but I'm just going to read quickly what I gave to him. As interim chair of the Arlington County Disability Advisory Commission, I am deeply concerned by the findings of the recent government audit of the STAR paratransit system. The audit highlights poor performance and the troubling absence of clear metrics to evaluate service quality or hold the contractor accountable. Our commission has received multiple complaints and public comments since early 2025 or earlier, reflecting these same issues. I strongly urge the county board to review the current contract and statement of work to ensure that enforceable performance standards are included and standards that will protect riders, ensure equitable service, and restore trust in this critical transportation system. So I gave him the statement. He said he would take it forward. I am meeting with him after August 24th when he returns. So I will press him again to determine what action the county intends to take following this audit. And Courtney, if you also could reach out, I guess it's Mr. Edwards on the transportation side to determine what they are going to do with the results of the audit.
Will do.
And Bryant, go ahead.
I like the speech. We've talked to transit staff multiple times. It's the reason why we have this audit report. I remember us having a meeting with the division chief and the bureau. And I'm actually going back to those meetings to write out readouts. I think this just needs to be a direct letter to the county board saying there's been multiple instances where we have reported this to county staff. And the response has either be, we'll see, nothing much we can do, or, I'm not sure if they're producing excuses or they just truly don't know what's going on. And I know, civil service is, it's not a very resourceful career, and sometimes you have to make magic work with duct tape at sometimes, but just given our past experience with that specific division of the county, I think we might have to produce, some metrics of our own, because it's our best system.
Elizabeth.
I was just, Brian, I was going to say that exact thing that you mentioned, matrix, and that's great for now because it puts it out there. But if part of what you're saying is adopted, then I agree with Brian that we could proactively provide the matrix by looking at other counties and by just knowing ourselves what they should be following.
Yeah, and I know part of this program is federally funded and overseen. Department of Transportation has some regulations. We might have to put in some research. But I think at this point, it's like we need to provide at least a baseline of like, this is the service you need to provide for STAR. Like, this is the service you promised. These are your deficiencies. Of course, the audit report provides, but just saying, it's like we have reached our limit and we really need the county board to work with the county manager and the county auditor to like direct these changes to be implemented, whether that is through working with our current contractor or putting it out for another bid.
What
And,
transportation service are you talking about?
STAR.
STAR?
Yes, STAR in the audit, the county's own audit that was quite negative.
Did we get copies of that?
So I think I did ask Courtney, and you did share it with the commissioners. It came out in June. But perhaps if you could resend that, it was because the published date is in June.
Perhaps we should invite or at least ask Roseanne Ashby and Kent Kieser come in and give us their perspective on this, because, you know, she is the accessibility subcommittee chair. Well, and I think he's vice, but they're part of the
Doris,
disability community. I mean, the things that I have seen on email written about this are just a total shock to me, particularly because because you know, the person who heads the company, the contractor, is very experienced, and he also has contract with Metro Access. So anyway, it's just a thought, because I'm hearing things like the vehicles being ill kept, and all kinds of things that I've never seen before.
so Courtney,
So
I think
yeah.
so. Courtney, I think the first thing is to see if you can determine, is there a formal response to the audit? If you could come back to the commission and let us know if there's if there is a response. And then per Bryant's point, the research of there are similar jurisdictions. When Mr. Edwards came to our meeting, we actually had a discussion, it's somewhere in the minutes, that we asked about if performance metrics were being put into the new statement of work, so that if the contractor didn't meet them, they wouldn't be paid that month. And we offered actually to take a look at the statement of work, and we were not included. So I think some research on our part is warranted. So I would like to suggest that we put that on the September agenda in the interest of time for some further discussion. And then Courtney, if you could follow up and determine, is there a formal response from the county?
Hey, Karen.
Go ahead.
I have the report pulled up right now. There is a management response section.
Is that, I have it too. Where is
yeah.
that?
It starts on page 6 towards the bottom.
Oh, I see. Yes. Strengthen the metrics. Yes. Conduct a 5-year invoice analysis. Yes. So I saw that. But it's kind of like, well,
page, sorry, page 7 of the PDF. Sorry, I forgot it. We're one page off. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but when are they gonna do this, right?
And remember too that STAR is a complimentary ADA service, so it's part of public transit. It's not human service paratransit, which operates on different rules, and I know that they combined, you know, senior transit with together in the same pot, or at least under the same contractor, which actually used to be the human service paratransit for seniors. So and so it's kind of been operating under two sets of rules and two parts of the Federal Transit Administration, and I think they may be mixing human service money, you know, from HHS and FTA money as a public transit service. And I'm wondering whether that's part of it, and then county money as well.
So in the
it's
interest
something
of
to
time,
think about. I don't know whether anybody has explored all of that, and who the contractors are and what services they're providing, and certainly they've not come all the way to the agreements that we thought we had when we were operating as the coalition Save Our Star. So.
Okay, so in the interest of time, thank you, Bryant, for that reference. I still have concerns about metrics.
Yeah.
Right? Like to hold their feet to the fire to say, you didn't meet the standard, so we're not going to pay you this month. That's usually when people notice. But I would suggest that we put it on the agenda for next month. I am
Yeah.
not going to be able to actually be present at the September meeting, and Elizabeth has graciously agreed to chair it. And I will work on the agenda with Courtney before I go out of town, but I will also reach out to all of you about 10 days ahead of the meeting to solicit your agenda items, because I feel like we have many. So I'll go ahead and do that. And Bryant, I think I cut you off, so go ahead.
Yeah, I was sorry. I briefly read this report on vacation and just reading the OCA additional comment section on page 11, which summarizes, it looks like county is saying we just don't have enough resources for oversight. And with that, it's not feasible to implement the improvements requested by the auditor.
It certainly
Yeah.
is easy to draft a thing that says they have to do certain things.
Well, the oversight on the county side.
Wow. I think
Yeah.
we gotta like
Mhm.
kind of end this train of
Mhm.
thought, because we got a lot. This could be a whole meeting. Okay. We have about 10 minutes left, and we do have some liaison reports. So Doris, you're on deck for a number, including the site plan review committee. So I didn't know what you had for us for updates.
I haven't. I wasn't going to site plan reviews held while I was really sick in late January through May, and although I've been following the emails, and I wasn't. They have call in, but I just wasn't in a physical condition to do that. So at any rate, I'm going to try to start coming back to site plan review and to housing starting in September if things work out right. And over the summer, the Housing Commission does not meet in late July through all of August. So the first meeting will be in September. And they've been working, I do know that they have been working on plans and having site plan review and other presentations on River House, because that's going to be a big thing coming up.
Okay.
That's about it. And then I
Okay.
also have not been to the Vermont Accessibility Advisory Commission for the same, and its subcommittees for the same reason, although I've been following the emails. Their big thing is right now, their big thing is implementation of the Better Bus Network.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of controversy over that because people, particularly here in Northern Virginia and getting around in Northern Virginia, are having big problems with it. Routes that were in place were eliminated, or their schedules were cut back so that crossing between Arlington or Alexandria and into Fairfax and crossing Fairfax County if you have to go somewhere, say Tyson's Corner or something, or out to Reston, have been made more difficult because the way they've set up the new network of buses, they have you on shorter buses and forcing you into transferring, or they've eliminated your bus service on particular routes altogether, and they've eliminated some of the bus stops, so it takes longer to walk to and you may have inaccessible streetscapes to traverse to get to a bus stop. So all that's about to be in discussion starting in September.
Wow, there'll be a lot. Okay, so
Yeah,
Elizabeth,
yeah.
Transportation Plan Advisory Committee.
There was not a meeting of that, to my knowledge, that I attended last month. So.
And then did you want to just give us a brief heads up on this proposed pedestrian event that you and I both went to that meeting?
Sure. Well, this was, remember when Pamela Van Hine, very active within the Pedestrian Advisory Committee, and also a very active person when we are not there at SPRC meetings to speak up for disability access. And she came and saw us maybe, I guess 10 years back, maybe 8. And she had arranged a time where some county board people and anyone who wanted to from the neighborhood could follow people who used wheelchairs and walkers. I don't know, Doris, if you were on that. But we had done that, and we had people gather afterwards and see if they learned anything about disability access. Well, there was discussion again with a person who works at AARP, had pulled together a group of people, including Karen and also the Pedestrian Advisory Committee and some other folks that work on pedestrian issues. And they were talking about different ways where they could raise awareness of the condition of some of the areas where people have to walk in Arlington. And there was a lot of discussion, for example, should we have them try to, put earmuffs on and see what it's like to be deaf, or, ride around in a wheelchair? And Karen and I kind of, there were no decisions made at this meeting, but we both talked about how we find that to be artificial, and that when Pam had tried to do this 10 years ago, it also had been hard to, for example, get wheelchairs for people to try out in. But one of the, but the woman at ARP was very organized. She seemed like she would really help us out if we wanted to do something like that. And one of the things that Karen brought up that I said I'd be willing to help with, because I think it's one of the most exciting ideas, is that if they do one of these walks, there has to be something that they can take away with from it. Because like 10 years ago when they did it, I mean, there was a little discussion, who knows whether the right county board people came, or even if county board people came, and it was just a plop, nothing. So, and it had taken so much time to organize on Pam's part. So Karen was thinking maybe we could get together, and anyone else who wanted to talk, to create a sheet that we could have on our website, or to pass out when they do walks like this, that would say, look, if you have, if there's construction and no accessible alternative route, this is who you call. If they have put snow in front of the curb cut, this is who you call. And so that people could learn some concrete things. And Karen and I thought it was brilliant. I can't remember how the others took it, but I don't think they took it badly. And I think our meeting again, which makes me think that they are going to do one of these walks. I also think that one of the things that Pam had tried in the past, quite successfully, I believe, was she was doing these Walk Arlington events with another person on the staff who was the head of Walk Arlington. He was, or she was putting them together with Pam. And Pam had said, I'm not going to have any walks without first considering, one, are they accessible? Two, are there benches for people to sit in? And three, um, are we going to advertise how long it is, how fast we might be walking, and that kind of thing? And I thought that was a very good use of time because they actually already had these walks organized. So, anything else you wanted to mention, Karen?
Just that our next meeting is Friday, and I'm pretty sure that, so the woman's name is Catalina. I don't have her last name, but more importantly, she is a commissioner on the Commission on Aging, and she is the chair of the subcommittee on the transportation subcommittee. So we will keep you all posted. And then I just wanted to thank Marilyn for her tireless advocacy work and being the squeaky wheel in terms of parking enforcement and parking accessibility. We're running out of time, but I'm going to ask Marilyn at the September meeting just to kind of give a recap of some recent successes. So in terms of action items, I just want to kind of go over the list before we convene for the night. So as I said, Elizabeth has agreed kindly to chair the next meeting. I am going to be somewhere very remote in the Pacific Northwest, and I don't think I'm going to have cell service or Wi-Fi where I'm going. There might be some bears, but no cell service. And so welcome, Andrew. We're really looking forward to your board appointment. And we're going to go ahead and I guess Maryland, or we'll go ahead and invite Mr. Amiri to visit the Waycroft building and follow up with Mr. Amiri on the proposal regarding the doors in the state code. And
Well, Courtney,
I will.
excuse me for interrupting. Will Courtney set that up with Mr. Amiri's person to come? We don't do that.
No. So I guess Courtney will work with you.
Right.
To set that up. Thank you. And then about 10 days before our next meeting, I'll put out a call for agenda items because I know Justin wasn't able to be here. And then we talked about putting the STAR audit on that. And Courtney, did I miss any of sort of our action items or next steps? I'm looking at my notes. I'm looking to. Okay, so
Did we already make recommendations to the legislative platform for the county to the state delegates and senators?
I do not remember. That may have been with
They usually
Alexa.
ask for it in July or 1st of August, and then the government affairs people for Arlington County, write up a draft platform.
That may have fallen between the cracks between Alexa and me. I do not believe that we did that.
Are you also referring
we've
to?
got more leverage right now to go to propose tonight. The code official gave us the leverage we need to get some of this achieved for the housing stuff.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
I know that when I was chair, they held these quarterly. They being one of the county board staff would hold a quarterly call, and he would ask the different commissioners, "What do you need? What's on the docket?" And I know that I found out about it through Pam Van Hine, the same woman that I was because what happens is they call out all the committees and they say, "Are you on the call?" And she kept hearing that DAC wasn't on the call, and she knew me. So maybe that is a place where we could be talking about the budget that you're talking about, Doris.
So Courtney, I'm not aware of a call or a meeting that takes place on that topic. Are you?
So yes, so it happened, I believe, I don't know if it was June or May. I have to look back at my my notes. But nonetheless, the county board usually reaches out to the chairs and they CC us on that, and I forward it to the chairs. So at that time, it would have been Alexa on there
Okay.
because I have to. So yeah, that they do that, and they gave time to testimony, and I think this time they allowed for committees and commissions to provide written
Okay.
option as well. But nonetheless, they would come from Mason, who is on the county board, and they CC the staff liaison.
Okay.
When the county board,
And I'm
when
not
the
didn't
county
provide
board
that. I
approves the
didn't know what
platform
it was.
in November, December. But if they do that, if they approve something that we want to go through there, then when we advocate in January, we can say, it's not just as us as individuals, it is, Fairfax County wants to see this implemented. And it would be for everything that has to go through code enforcement, for example, and not just affordable units, but or subsidized units, but everything. So that's
Yeah.
why, yeah. So
Well,
so
we
there
have
is
a
time
lot of work
between
to do.
now and the 1st of November to be able to put something, to see if we can get something on their platform. And it's also the time, right now is also the time that the other jurisdictions are doing the exact same thing, at least Alexandria and Fairfax and Loudon.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we'll have to consider that, and that may be an agenda item in our next meeting. Okay, so we have definitely run out of time. So I thank you so much, Matthew and Andrew, for attending. It was a pretty full meeting. So do we have a motion to convene?
So moved.
Second, my role.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Wow.
Thanks,
That was
Karen.
great.
Great
All
job,
right. Thanks,
everybody.
everybody.